What's poppin', y'all? It's Ratfall. I react to YouTube videos, movie drama, TV shows, any particular topic. Just comment down below and I react to it. Today I'm reacting to Phineas and Ferb theory. They believe that the mom always knew what Phineas and Ferb was getting into. So it seemed pretty interesting. I'm into like conspiracy theories and like cartoon conspiracy theories. It gives like a different aspect of my childhood. Shout out to Flim Simpson. He made some good content out there. And I'm gonna react to it now.
Mother of Phineas and Candace, stepmother to Ferb, and an incredibly devious and twisted woman. For you see, she knows more than what she lets on. Turns out, she knew exactly what was going on with Phineas and Ferb's inventions, but she pretended to be in the dark the entire time, as she had no interest in busting
That's
them.
crazy.
Au contraire, she actually needed them to commit to their project.
I like his French accent.
Much to Candace's exasperation. But let's proceed one step at a time, shall we? Throughout their 104 days long summer, Phineas and Ferb have been building the most ginormous contraptions in their backyard.
It was somewhere for like 10 years there. That shit was somewhere for like 30 years. That shit never ended. That shit was like that when I was growing up.
Yet their mother seemed to be clueless the entire time. Candace tried to show her mom the truth all summer long, bringing her back home to witness her brother's inventions, yet Linda never believed her daughter, as she never saw any of those contraptions.
That does seem to be a pattern, doesn't it?
One might think she's totally unaware of her son's
That's what I thought.
stunts.
I thought
Is
that.
she really? If you answered yes, then you're not paying attention. Even though Linda was well aware of Candace's attempt to expose her brothers, she just believed her daughter had a very active imagination, which is a very weak conclusion in and of itself. So at
That's a crazy
point,
imagination.
what comes to mind? Apart from Candace's detailed and exhaustive explanations,
Phineas and Ferb are in the gadgets to the ages exhibit, and they're doing something to this chair thing, and Ferb is using that hose thingy that makes sparks, and he's wearing that mask that goes like this.
you would think that sooner or later, anybody, would bring up Phineas and Ferb's inventions in a conversation with Linda, since literally everybody in Neville witnessed or even took part in
Yeah, they like a lot of people.
one way or the other. Just think of episodes like Winter, Lobstars, Backyard Aquarium, Cheer Up Candace, or Ferb Black.
Oh yeah, comment down below your favorite Phineas and Ferb episode.
Stories ended up on the news as well. She may have doubts about the accuracy of Candace's stories, but it's pretty unlikely that not even a single soul ever stopped Lena on the street commenting on her kids' contraptions.
Wow, twins, that's a handful. What?
Plus, from time to time, Phineas and Ferb were also joined by Linda's husband and parents, who actually got to be an active part of the boys' activities, like when they built a roller rink to let their grandma have a roller skating rematch with Kirby's grandma.
Hey, those grannies was going at it, man. No granny wasn't playing.
Flying carpet, apparently know their grandma's
They wasn't playing. They were like the hockey shit I saw.
to help Candace with their driver's license. It's pretty rational to think that at some point, someone would ask Linda a couple questions about her children. I mean, the scenario in which nobody does would seem pretty far-fetched. And don't forget about the times the inventions did not disappear and stayed in the backyard all day and night for
Yeah.
everyone to see. She only had to put all the pieces together, and at some point, she did. As to all of these witnesses and this evidence right under her nose, we can add some actual proof. Take the episode Agent 2. When Phineas and Ferb turned into babies, and Candace sent her mom a picture of them.
None of us in the episode.
Linda knew perfectly that a picture of the two of them together as babies couldn't exist, as Phineas and Ferb already were toddlers when their parents first met.
Yeah.
So Linda acted as if it was an old baby picture just to leave it as that. Later on, when Candace brought the babies to her, she insisted that those weren't Phineas and Ferb, but just two babies who looked like them. But again, she is Phineas's mom.
But she just seen the picture.
Knows how her son looked like as a baby. Plus, if she recognized him in the picture, then she must recognize him in person as well. She denies, and denies, even with evidence all over the place. So it's safe to say that eventually she found out the truth. But for some reason, she decided to keep it all under wraps. She didn't want her children to know she knew. So she kept denying the obvious and not dumb all the time, never really pointing out the weird stuff happening around her.
And just because I won't let you get pink hair, you don't have to wear some weird door. The trends these days.
What the fuck?
Now, the real question is, why? Why would she pretend not to know a thing, hiding the truth from her family and from Candace of all people? Put your tinfoil hats on, because we're talking conspiracy theories now. I want you guys to notice how Linda's never around when Candace is right there ready to bust her brothers. However, when Candace is somehow unable to bust, when she's just hanging out with someone else, somewhere else, for example, Linda just chills around the house. When Candace can't get out of bed because of her injured ankle, let's do some gardening next to the boy's giant machine.
I mean, how she gonna hear that? They she had the headphones in. How she gonna hear that?
Candace is not willing to bust her brothers because she's taking part in their obstacle course. Let's stay all day in the kitchen while there's pure chaos happening right outside the kitchen window. Instead, when Candace is willing to expose her brothers, no matter how hard she tries, Linda will always find a way to miss the big contraption and avoid admitting to know the truth.
I've been heated, man. If I was Candace,
Don't you find that
I've been heated.
Not enough to act upon right now, dear.
But why the hell would she do that? Let me answer that question with another question. What job do Phineas and Ferb's parents do for a living? They run an antique store. And I want to stress that they run an antique store. That might be the second worst
City pay making bread.
YouTuber who makes animated shows related content. Those guys need so much support. You can't really provide for a 5-person family, a pet platypus, and afford such a house if both parents work at an antique store. Where would they even get the money for their trips, their vacations, and all of Linda's activities such as her cooking classes, her spa days, or even donating to charity? It seems plausible that both Homer Simpson and Stan Smith are able to support 5 people, a couple pets, and aliens of every kind, working at a nuclear power plant and
CIA.
respectively.
Okay.
Even with a pretty good job, the Simpsons often barely make it to the end of the month. So how can a family like the Flynn Fletchers rely on antiques and nothing else? And remember that if Linda's pretending to be in the dark, then it means that Phineas and Ferb keep for themselves all the money they might make with their inventions. So what other way can the family earn money then?
Okay.
Short answer, it's a cartoon, who cares? Long answer, well, I hope your tinfoil hat is tight enough. In the episode,
I gotta get mine.
get busted,
I gotta get mine.
journal of all the crazy stories Candace tells her, intending to use them for stand-up comedy. Now, since that episode is a dream inside yet another dream inside a pretty convoluted plot, we have no way of knowing whether Linda really does have those journals,
Very
or it was
bad.
just part of Claire's dream. Still, it got me thinking, what if Linda actually exploited Candace's psychotic rants, writing them down in a couple books in order to sell her stories? Or perhaps she uses Candace's stories in order to write books for parents dealing with high-strung teenagers, considering how that's the topic her favorite author writes about. However, to me, it's more likely that their mother is simply writing down each and every single story Candace tells her because she always wants her daughter's drama, her rants, and her storytelling. Think of the time she literally just sat there.
This shit is interesting.
To go check out
That's not even like it. This shit's so interesting.
so Candace came up with a coherent and detailed story about it. This would explain why Linda always encourages her daughter to spend time with her brothers, despite knowing that the boys' contraptions will end up driving Candace crazy at the end of the day.
Phineas
Sure.
and Ferb said they devised a fun way to wash the house. Why don't you join them? Have some fun for a change.
So after Candace spends an entire day following her brother's every step, keeping her mom up to speed,
But maybe she just wanted to like her to watch them. That's probably why. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt.
meantime, Linda can easily transcribe her rants, sell and use her stories to her advantage. This way, she's able to afford her hobbies and her off-the-wall classes,
Thanks, Vivian. See you Tuesday for totem pole carving.
as well as paying the bills and for the family trips. And consequently, this is why Linda never really got mad at Candace for her habit of tattling about her brother's mysterious inventions, because you'd think a responsible parent would tell her to stop that. One could also argue that Linda creates the drama herself, purposefully leaving the house every day just
I don't believe
to
that part.
Ferb build whatever thing he wants, alarming Candace, who will later tell her mom about their misadventures.
I don't
What are
believe
your
that part.
brothers up to?
Not a thing. Which is weird.
Honestly, if people found somewhat reasonable the idea of Linda selling the stories of her dead daughter to Disney to make the show, then this theory is 100% plausible. How does she do that though? How can Linda be so sure of the invention's disappearance? Because the moment Candace exposes her brothers, everything is over and Linda's plan goes down the drain. I
True.
would say that. Just like Phineas and Ferb openly stated that they don't care how the inventions always disappear, they're just glad they do because it saves them time.
Hey, remember that episode? They didn't do nothing. Yeah, the whole episode they didn't do nothing. That's crazy.
As much time as possible, just to let the inventions disappear on their own, because she knows that at some point they will. As you may have noticed, she relies on every possible distraction around her to avoid looking at the big idea before it's taken away. She knows it's just a matter of time.
You know, Candace, that's the second time I've climbed up there. I'm already down half a dress size.
Come on!
And in case the thing doesn't disappear, she just makes up some weird excuse to avoid checking it out.
The time machine is gone, Mom!
Oh, hi, Candace.
Mom! Mom!
Look, Candace, they're putting a new phone on display.
Come on, now. She knows she's seen that.
While in extreme circumstances, when she just cannot make up excuses anymore, she simply plays the innocent and goes like, "You guys did that? Oh, that's adorable."
Mm.
No, it is not!
This way, she doesn't have to bust anyone, and the routine can go on going on.
Actually, Tilda did good for that role.
The plan can keep going. Come on, in the episode about the future, when present Candace finally busts Phineas and Ferb to future Linda, she's like, "Candace, after 20 years of madness, you turned out
20 years.
the truth all along." Neat. Anyone want some pie? Okay, I added the pie part, but you've got to admit
That's
that
awesome. She
this is
should
not how
say.
you would react when you find out that the daughter you've been considering crazy for decades was actually telling the truth from day one. Now, let's take a look at her actions, keeping in mind what we just learned, and let's see if this theory actually works.
Okay.
These are a few examples, but technically you can do this for dozens of other episodes as well. In Lancelot's case, knowing that Phineas and Ferb are away at their senior lodge, Linda pushes Candace to leave the house and go back together. Later on, she brings Candace right where Phineas and Ferb are and follows her slowly just to make sure Candace can see what the boys are up to. Then, by the time they finally catch up with the boys, when they are in place right in front of the evidence, Linda casually happens to have a newspaper in her face, so she slowly throws away one page at a time. Once everything
Damn.
clears and she can't hear the fuss anymore, Linda finally gets rid of the newspaper, sees that there's nothing there, and ignoring the massive hole in the wall, she brings Candace right back home. It's
That
as
is
if
weird.
She needed something to happen. She needed action in order to have a story to tell, a story she will later write about. Or again, to prove she's purposefully teasing Candace.
Now, she did do that. She did move that paper fast.
Let's take the episode Mom's in the House. When Dupsinator accidentally creates a copy of the Flynn Fletcher's house, Candace thinks it was Phineas and Ferb's doing, so she tries to bust them for it, and she yells.
Mom, get ready to have your eyes open wide!
Linda ignores her,
Okay.
keeps her head down, looking inside her purse, and as she hears Candace go,
But,
she understands that the thing is gone, so she just turns, looks up and says, "Oh, when are they ever going to build something in that empty lot?" And she just leaves. One last example. In Bubble Boys, Candace is driving.
Slick, Linda. You trying to be slick, Linda.
Her brothers down. When at some point the car is in midair after jumping off a drawbridge, Candace points at the boys floating inside the giant bubble. Possibly seconds after seeing the boys right in front of her, Linda immediately shuts her eyes and says,
there! I told you! Mom, open your eyes!
Not till we're back on the ground.
"How convenient." Anyhow, we should mention two pieces of evidence
That's very
to go
convenient.
against this theory, because on 2 occasions only, Linda saw the boys in conjunction with Candace next to her and got mad at the boys for it. Still, both of them can be easily justified. The first time being in Phineas and Ferb's Quantum Boogaloo in an alternate timeline, future Candace returned to the past and busted Phineas and Ferb on the very first day of summer when they built the roller coaster.
Yeah.
Though one might argue that the mom didn't know about their inventions that early in the summer, so she was harsh on them because she was afraid they might get hurt. That roller coaster doesn't seem that safe to me.
Yeah.
Even though we know the boys did build stuff before that day, it was made clear that the crazier schemes and ideas happened during that
The summer, yeah.
meaning that the roller coaster might have been one of the first few instances in which Candace tried to bust her brothers. Therefore, Linda was actually clueless back then, and she had no intention to use her daughter's stories to her advantage. Yet, while in She's the Mayor, when Candace became the mayor, Linda got mad at Phineas and Ferb for building an old-time pioneer town in their backyard. But of course, since Candace brought the media and the press with her,
She
Linda
had
just
to.
couldn't play the innocent card anymore,
Yeah.
not in front of the entire town. So she had no other choice but to bust Phineas and Ferb. Plus, I don't know, building a town, the boys might have messed up her beautiful garden and her beloved flowers, so I can see why she would lose it and blow up like that. Those timelines got deleted too, so that's one more reason not to worry about them when it comes to this theory.
Okay.
So there you have it. This is how Linda Flynn Fletcher managed to hide the truth from her family her entire life, enjoying her hobbies and her activities thanks to the money she earns off of her daughter's stories. She learned about her son
I don't know about that last part.
sometime along the way, and then started that you have done not only in front of Candace, but with everyone in town as well. Romancing Candace and taking advantage of every excuse and distraction she could, Linda managed to keep her plan going for years, until some time-traveling mess happens at least.
My bad, the camera died. The video's pretty much over now. It's crazy. My mind's kind of blown. I'm like, wow, like she always knew. Like, it's crazy, but it is pretty suspicious. I don't know about selling the stories to make a book out of it. I don't know about that part. She probably did something else with it. It's probably CIA experiments or something. But it's pretty weird. Like, that's so crazy. Like, looking back at my childhood, thinking about all that, like, it is suspicious. I ain't gonna cap. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'm out.